fourth presentation focuses on blockchain, transforming supply chain networks. Daniel Wilson is joining us, Director of Strategy and Operations for GDT Solutions at TradeLens. Daniel leads strategy and operations for the TradeLens platform. The platform is a collaboration between Maersk and IBM. Really interesting collaboration there. And this is to digitize and streamline the global trade, leveraging modern technologies like blockchain and cloud computing that we've heard so much about. The platform has over 400 organizations in its network, including importers, exporters, freight forwarders, inland providers, banks, insurers, customs, ports and terminals, and shipping lines, and has most recently launched its digital bill of lading solution. Really interesting.
Thank you very much, Kim, and thank you very much to everybody for the opportunity to be speaking with you today. My name is Daniel Wilson. I look after strategy and operations for the TradeLens platform, which is the result of a collaboration between Maersk and IBM to help digitize global supply chains. I'm now going to go through a presentation so that I can introduce the TradeLens platform to you, and following that, we'll move into a live demonstration of the TradeLens EBL solution, a digital bill of lading solution supported by the industry and available in the market today. If we think about the challenges that are inherent in managing supply chains, there's the operational, movement of good from end to end. And then there's the informational, the management of information necessary to get those goods from end to end, be it managing documentation and ensuring the different parties involved in that transaction have documents, paper, and information at the right time. We've been lucky that over the last few decades, the operational management of transactions has become very efficient, but we haven't seen the same gains on the informational side. And it's now got to the point where in a typical end-to-end container journey, the operational, the movement of the goods is often cheaper than the administrative, the management of information about those goods. Blockchain and new technologies offer the opportunity to make sure that those gains that we've seen on the operational side can also be seen on the information side. Blockchain is one of many technologies that TradeLens puts to use in order to improve the way that we manage the information and supply chains. It is one of many technologies that are put together in order to achieve those ends, because no one technology is ever going to be a panacea. It's not going to solve everything by itself. But blockchain has a number of unique features that allow us to get those operational gains seen in the information side. On this slide, I show you some information about how blockchain is being put to use in the TradeLens platform. But the important part for this discussion are the points down the bottom. So what blockchain can do that other technologies cannot do are some important things. The first one is it makes the information that you're looking at, ensures that it's non-changeable. By that I mean the information can be relied upon as being true and from the source, and if there's any changes to it, there is a full audit trail that can be viewed on that for that document and for that information. So the first thing is, and particularly in the petrochemical space, there is a tremendous amount of paper that is used in order to ensure that you can trust that the transaction and the information is something that you can rely on for financial decisions, for commercial decisions, etc. With the use of blockchain technology, you can trust that the documentation in front of you in a digital format is the legitimate document, be it a title document like a bill of lading, or a commercial document like a purchase order or a commercial invoice. So blockchain technology does something that typical cloud computing cannot do, which gives you that level of trust. The second thing that is relevant for supply chains, but particularly again in the petrochemical space, is around business process automation. We know that a typical end-to-end container journey involves dozens of different entities, all of whom at some point need access to data. With the TradeLens platform, you can be assured that, first of all, only the right people get the right data at the right time because of our unique permissioning framework. But second, blockchain also gives you the tools to build business process automation straight into the way that you do your work in a digital platform. So do away with repeating basic tasks about your data management and put that on a blockchain platform that can allow for that automation to happen and thus strip out tremendous costs for doing your business. So the way that TradeLens does that is very similar to those points. We connect the ecosystem. We'll come to the ecosystem more in a moment. And once we've connected to the directly to the source of the information that these ecosystem members have, be they ports and terminals, customs authorities, etc., we drive for true information sharing because the information is in real time. And because it's API technology, it's both more resilient and the data are richer. When you bring the information to the right parties at the right time, we foster collaboration and trust. We use blockchain technology to make the commercially sensitive information immutable. And we also ensure that through our data sharing specification, you can be assured that only the right people will see the right data at the right time. And if we put all of this together, we're able to spur innovation across the entire industry in any vertical you could hope to imagine. TradeLens solution has three parts. The first is this connection to the ecosystem, and we'll dive deeper into that one in a moment. The second is the platform layer. This is the technological heart of the solution, and this is where blockchain, which I've described already, sits. Finally, the marketplace sits on top, which is where we deploy applications and over time will allow third parties to deploy applications that lever the strength of the platform, the ecosystem, and the blockchain network. The ecosystem today has more than 400 entities that are using it, including more than a dozen customs authorities, shipping lines representing almost 2/3 of global container volumes, a growing intermodal and rail network, and hundreds of ports and terminals providing data straight into the platform, meaning that those informational black boxes that sit in all of these different ecosystem members are now immediately available to you in real time. So no more guessing when your container is available, no more guessing when customs releases happen. You can know that the moment it's happened because we have that connection to the direct source of that information. The TradeLens Marketplace is where we build and deploy applications. The first, TradeLens Core, is a supply chain management tool that radically improves the visibility in managing your supply chain. Through the use of digital documentation underpinned by blockchain, it allows you to digitize your documentation set. And through the use of sophisticated collaboration tools, regardless of the level of technological sophistication of your supply chain partners, you can connect them in a shared digital space that allows for the seamless exchange of information through this one platform underpinned by blockchain. The second product is the TradeLens EBL, which is a digital bill of lading solution. This is a prime example of a use case that blockchain can support, and we're going to spend a couple of minutes going through what the product is before we go into a demonstration. The TradeLens EBL is, as I said, it's a digital bill of lading solution that completely replicates the existing paper process, but in a digital format. And with all digitization efforts, we see four key benefits. The first is increasing security and transparency. No more risks that your document is going to go missing or get lost or be tampered with or altered. And you will have full visibility on the status of your bill of lading from an end-to-end basis, removing the ambiguities and the uncertainties inherent in using those documents in a paper world. You can streamline your processes. Requesting a TradeLens EBL is done through your normal shipping instruction process and allows you to integrate via API or through the UI into your existing business processes, taking out time and costs. In addition, you can remove the need for things like courier fees and document handling fees as direct savings. But more importantly, because at digital bills of lading, the TradeLens EBL is an instantaneous process, you can take days out of the time it takes for containers to get released at destination because your bill of lading is not the dependency for that bill of lading to be delivered. Finally, we can access a full digital ecosystem. With the TradeLens EBL, you access that ecosystem that I mentioned earlier that continually grows and adds more value to its users. TradeLens EBL is a global offering. We have seen dozens of different jurisdictions accept the TradeLens EBL as a genuine title document and sufficient for releasing cargo. TradeLens EBL is supported on Maersk and Sealand brands today, and over the rest of this year, we will include CMA CGM MSC, Seaboard Marine, and Hamburg Süd. So for literally the majority of shipments globally, you will be able to lever the strength of TradeLens EBL and access that underlying blockchain network to digitize your supply chains and to remove some tremendous costs. TradeLens EBL works simply. First, you have a bill of lading that is issued to you. That's requested through your normal shipping instruction process. And when it's issued to you, that's recorded on the blockchain. Then the holder of the bill can transfer that bill of lading to any entity that is on the TradeLens platform simply by selecting them as a recipient and clicking transfer. The bill of lading can transfer multiple times or a single time in its life cycle, and TradeLens supports all of those. Finally, at the appropriate time, the bill of lading can be surrendered. And all the way through this end-to-end process, activities are recorded on blockchain, meaning that you can be sure that if you receive the bill of lading into your system, into your inbox, that is your bill of lading, and you can make reliable decisions based on that. And when you transfer it on, you can also be sure that that bill of lading has successfully transferred across until when it's finally surrendered, that surrender message is also received and recorded on blockchain. For more information, be sure to check out our website where we have demonstrations and videos that explores more both about the TradeLens EBL and how we're using blockchain technologies. Thank you very much for allowing me to go through this presentation. We'll now go over to a demonstration to show you how the TradeLens EBL works in practice. Thank you. Welcome to the TradeLens EBL demonstration. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you what it looks like to review and to transfer an EBL from your system to the system of your counterparties. The TradeLens EBL solution is available through the user interface, which is what I'm going to demonstrate today. But every piece of functionality is something that can also be accessed via API, which can allow for this functionality to be directly integrated to your existing systems. First, we need to log in. Logging in to the TradeLens EBL solution requires you to have an IBM ID. To sign up for an IBM ID takes just a few minutes and allows for users of the solution to access the TradeLens solution. Right now, we're loading in our sandbox environment, which is an environment that allows for the testing of new products and for the ability to manage your transactions in a way that is demonstrated. These are artificially constructed transactions that don't have real world implications. In the TradeLens EBL solution, you can see a lot of information that's important for you to manage your transactions. So what does that look like? Well, the first thing that you'll notice in this user interface are some of these consignments that have been added. And the TradeLens data model is something that was first developed by UN CFACT, which allows for the simple management of data and permissions across your transactions. On the top layer, we have the shipment layer, which you can think of as the commercial relationship between the buyer and the seller. Below that is the consignment, which is the operational execution against that commercial relationship. And below that, you have the unit that is being tracked. Typically on TradeLens, that is a container, 40-foot or a 20-foot container, though the solution is able to support any unit that conforms to the shipment, consignment, trade object hierarchy. So right now on our screen, we can see a number of different consignments that are associated to our organization. So when you as a user would log into the solution, our onboarding team will have mapped your organization within TradeLens to the corresponding organization within the shipping lines and across the supply chain to ensure that when you make, for example, a booking on an ocean carrier, that is immediately reflected in the TradeLens platform. We're also able to drill down into these consignments to see additional detail. So you see up the top a summary, in this case, a shipment going from Antwerp to Pune. You can see some important operational information here, including container cutoffs, documentation cutoffs, commodity descriptions, etc. And you're able to then drill down on a container level to the status of this overall transaction. In this particular consignment, we have two containers. They're both early in the stage of their transaction, so the vessel has departed for both of these. So they're on the same vessel, which is a great start for us, of course. And we can drill down even deeper and see the high-level detail again for this container, the associated documentation, and of course the events. And the events are important because they allow you to track the status of the container. Now, this is a highly stylized and simplified version of the TradeLens EBL visibility component. We typically see a different container, each having at fewest 60 events that happen on an end-to-end basis, both in terms of actual, what actually happened, estimations of what's going to happen soon, and planned events. Planned events is the transport plan, or what you first booked at the time of booking. What's important to us now, of course, is that we know with this consignment that the vessel's departed, so the bill of lading is going to be available to us. Now, to access a TradeLens EBL in the system is simple. We click Flows, and then we click EBL. And all of the bills of lading that have been issued to us by participating ocean carriers will have their EBLs issued here. So how does that work? When you're submitting your shipping instruction to the carrier, there's an additional field that is completed that requests the EBL to be issued to TradeLens. This doesn't require any substantive business or system changes. It's a simple addition to a field that you've already sending into the carrier, either via a direct connection to the carrier through the carrier's website, or through third-party platforms through whom you submit your shipping instructions. When a shipping instruction is submitted, the ocean carrier system automatically captures that information. And then at the time of the bill of lading issuance, instead of the bill of lading being issued as paper and a single record, a single object is created, it's created in a digital fashion. So there's only the digital version of the bill of lading. So that means that this inbox of bills of lading are genuine bills of lading. There is no paper version equivalent. There's no ability to double spend or have any concerns of that nature. You only have the bills of lading here. Bills of lading can be in a number of different states. Issued means that the bill of lading has been issued from the carrier to you. And what that means is that that's equivalent to, once the bill of lading has been completed the first time, you picking that up from the ocean carrier, having it sent to you, or indeed printing it at home. It's equivalent to that. The bill of lading can also be surrendered. And that's at the end of the life cycle where the bill of lading has been functionally equivalent to returning that to the office of the shipping line. And a bill of lading can be transferred. That means that the bill of lading was issued to somebody else, and then that somebody else transferred that bill of lading to us. What we're looking at in this demonstration is bill of lading 073. Now, in this field, we're able to go back to that consignment view that we went through in our previous demonstration and see the status of our container. But we can also do a number of other actions that are relevant for us for this bill 073. The first thing we can do is we can view the document. There are two ways that documents can be put up on the TradeLens platform. The first one is as a structured document. This is the digital bill of lading as it is issued by the ocean carrier. And the way to think about this is, if you're unfamiliar with structured data versions of documents, is that every field on the document is its own piece of data that can be read by both humans and by computers. So if you think about a bill of lading, it will have voyage number, for example. That's down here that we can see. And the reason why structured data is valuable is if you want to put this into your systems today and to do cross-checking or compliance checking or what have you. If you have a PDF or a physical document, you need to manually re-enter information into your systems. But with a structured data format, you get a JSON document that you can download and upload automatically into your system. So this cuts out a lot of manual effort and delays. The other thing you can do on TradeLens is have a printable copy of the bill of lading. And what this is a PDF version of a true certified copy of the document. This is not an original document, it's only a certified copy. But what happens is that when you have this, if you need to present or to keep a copy of a true certified copy of the bill of lading for audit purposes or for customs purposes or for tax purposes, you can download these documents directly from the TradeLens platform. And you'll notice at the top of the page here is this consistency check. And what's happening in real time is that the document is being validated against what was originally uploaded on blockchain. And if you have that little green padlock, it means that the document that was uploaded matches what we're looking at now. And so you can trust the veracity of that document in making decisions. There are other actions that you can take as well. So in addition to viewing this bill of lading, we're also able to transfer. We'll come to transfer in a moment, but this is the equivalent of sending the bill of lading to the next party. We can request a switch to paper. So if there is a transaction where completing the digital bill of lading journey is impossible, perhaps because a counterparty has not joined the platform, perhaps because a customs jurisdiction requires an original bill of lading to be presented for customs release, a switch to paper request can request that the ocean carrier receive back the digital version of the bill of lading, convert it to a paper version of the bill of lading, and then issue that same document out as a piece of paper. So that's something that assures that even if it's impossible to complete the EBL lifecycle in a digital format, you can still use the TradeLens EBL solution to digitize most of the lifecycle of that document. Finally, there is an opportunity to surrender the bill of lading. When you surrender the bill of lading, that's equivalent to returning that bill of lading to the shipping line. As I'm logged in right now as the shipper, as the consignor, this would be, if I click surrender right now, the equivalent of a telex release or an express release or a shipper surrender, depending on the terminology that you use. And in TradeLens, we support any of these types of approaches. The final thing I want to call out in this demonstration is that TradeLens EBL contains 3 different parts in its offering. The first is the ability to manage the bill of lading's lifecycle, the issuance, transfer, and surrender. The second is the onboarding of counterparties to the user interface. The third part is the digitization of other documentation involved in this transaction. So what we want to do is now upload different documents to this consignment and to this transaction to ensure that we're able to share with our supply chain partners other relevant documents. So here we have the COO. So we can search for certificate of origin. We can, in the packing list, choose packing list. And then for the commercial invoice, we can click commercial invoice. And we may want to add documentation references. So it may be 1, 2, 3, 4, ABC. And we can do that for all of these. So for instance, if you have specific references that you want to use on these documents so that your counterparties can understand what part of the transaction it's involved in, then that is entirely manageable in the platform. In addition to uploading documents, you will want to add parties to the transaction and other shipment details to ensure that this is entirely clear to you and to your partners what information is being communicated. So I'm logged in again as the shipper or as the seller. So depending on the role that I take, I can choose different roles, but I'm going to choose seller. And then I have different references that I can use here for the shipment reference. So sometimes people will use commercial invoices or purchase orders as the key reference for the document. Other times you may use bill of lading numbers. You may use, and what we're going to use here is the letter of credit number. And again, we reinsert that number, and we're able to add these references to the document. We can also add a goods description if that's something that's relevant for you as managing your supply chains. You can add in these delivery dates. And down here, we can add in additional shipment parties. This allows you to bring in different entities to the platform and ensure that they are in a permissioned way consuming your data. If a party is not added, they are not able to see the data. And if they are added, the data that they can see is governed by the TradeLens data sharing specification, which again, the point of all of this is to ensure that your data is only seen by the parties that you want seeing it. So if we add in the test consignee, and we, for instance, call them a buyer, we can add them to this transaction as well. So ahead of time, if they log in, they'll be able to see the documents instantaneously. So we're going to click Add Document. And what's happening here in the background is that it's uploading these documents. So you can think about that like Dropbox or Box or what have you. We upload documents normally. Once you've uploaded them, those documents then create the shipment as well. So that's that commercial relationship between buyer and a seller. We had the consignment, which was the operational execution, which was created when you made a booking, and you just created the shipment on top of it. So now that you've got the documents uploaded, you've got the shipment added, you want to go back to the bill of lading and get ready to transfer it. And the reason why this matters is you can think of this like creating a document pouch for a presentation or for any other way that you currently communicate your documents. Putting it another way, we just in a digital fashion created you in your DHL or FedEx envelope, putting in a whole bunch of documents, putting the right name on the front, and then sending it off in an overnight or 3-day delivery. We did all of that in 5 minutes. And the final step, of course, is to transfer this. Now you can only transfer the parties with whom you have a business partner relationship. You can kind of think about this like LinkedIn. You can't just randomly send messages to people on LinkedIn. You have to send a request, and then they need to accept it, and then you can communicate on the platform. It's exactly the same thing here with TradeLens. You have to have your business partner on the platform in order to be able to transfer them these bills of lading. Now we can do that right now. We have the existing business partner relationship with our consignee. And if we've selected them and we click transfer, what's happening right now is that all of those documents, the record of who has access is being updated on blockchain. And the record of who the holder of the bill of lading is also being updated on blockchain. So this is happening right now in real time. And what's able to happen when you do this is that this is, again, functionally and legally equivalent to putting the bill of lading in an envelope and sending it around the world. Now you'll notice that bill 73 is now out of our inbox. And the reason for that is we've transferred it. So we can't access the bill of lading itself in this view, but we can absolutely go back and review that through the consignment view that we were using before. So you still have access to the underlying data. You still have the ability to do the track and trace for that consignment, but you can't go back and hold the bill of lading again unless it's transferred to you. But this is bill 73. We have the same access to the containers. We have the same access to the documents and to the shipments that we uploaded earlier. sorry, here's the shipment that we uploaded earlier. And what this means is that you continue to have full visibility and transparency, even though you're not holding the bill of lading anymore. What does that mean practically? Well, if I log out now and log in as the consignee, what we'll be able to do is see what it's like as the consignee to receive the bill of lading. So I'm now logged back in as the consignee in this transaction. I've simplified it. I've kept banks out of this for now, though we do support banking transactions. We support trader scenarios. But just for the purposes of time management, I'm just showing you what you might call a straight BL, or what we call a single transfer. So we're logged in as the consignee, which is great. And we want to go and check out the bill of lading. Has this been transferred to us? Now, the good news is that it has been, which of course it would be, because we're logged in as the party that the bill was transferred to. This bill of lading has been updated on blockchain as something that we now hold. And we can view the consignment like what we were doing when we were logged in as the shipper. It's the same information that we have access to. We can see the shipment that we were added to. So we know that this information is here. The documents that we uploaded just before have been added and uploaded. The certificate of origin, you'll remember we uploaded. You can see these references and IDs that were added. The same thing for the commercial invoice, the same thing for the packing list. It's all here, and it all came through instantaneously. What this means then, if I'm practically managing this in my day-to-day job, it means that this is something that today may have taken a few days, maybe a bit longer, in order to be sent to me. I might have received them in paper, so maybe I'm going to have to do some manual rework to access the data. All of that has been eliminated. The time, the cost, the manual work, it means the digital documents are available to us right here. The final thing then I'll want to do, if I'm the consignee and I've received the documents and I'm happy with the state of the transaction, is surrender the bill of lading, which can be done very easily by clicking surrender. You then have to select the party to whom the BL is going to be released. Right now, we'll just click a random party because it's a demonstration, it doesn't matter. And what happens now is that this is sending a message to the shipping line saying, this bill of lading is being surrendered and is now no longer something that is live. And please release the container to the nominated party that I have requested on the TradeLens platform. So you'll now see that bill 73 is in a surrendered form. There are no actions that I can take anymore because, of course, if I've surrendered the bill, I wouldn't be able to do any transfer or any switch to paper or surrender. But I can still view the consignment and view the shipment and see the underlying data. At the end of this demonstration, what we've shown you is that the TradeLens solution provides to you a vast wealth of data that can help manage your supply chains. Those data are coming in from the hundreds of ecosystem members that we have on the platform today, including those ocean shipping lines, ports and terminals, inland providers, etc. In the TradeLens EBL solution, we showed you that you can take a number of actions, including to view, transfer, switch to paper, or surrender the bill of lading. You can upload other documentation and add parties to the transaction so that they can have visibility of that transaction as you want them to have it. We then transferred the bill of lading to the consignee, which was done on blockchain and automatically updated the status of who was holding the bill of lading from me, the shipper, to me, the consignee. And then what we showed was that the consignee was able to view that document in the bill of lading and the other documents, can download that, and then can surrender the bill of lading with the click of a button. And during all of this, the visibility of the transaction has been maintained through the platform approach that TradeLens takes. So even though the shipper transferred the bill of lading, they maintain that visibility that they need to manage their supply chains. The final point I would make is that this was a simplified version of a transaction. For many of you, transactions will involve multiple parties, including banks, intermediaries, and any other player who might be involved in the transaction. With TradeLens, we can bring those parties onto the platform in just a few minutes. And once we're on the platform, any transaction can then be executed to transfer the bill of lading to those participants and have those participants transfer the bill of lading onto the next party, or in fact, effect a surrender. Thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity to share the TradeLens EBL solution. This is available today. We have done hundreds of successful transactions year to date in over a dozen different jurisdictions. We're excited about the opportunity to digitize your global supply chains, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.